different ways to pay. We know that we have physical cash, we have our debit card, and we have our digital wallet. And last but not least, credit. I will take most of my time to explain those four thoroughly. Cash is one of the best methods that we use to make our purchases. It starts from transitioning back to when we started with checks, ATM cards, debit cards, and then cash. And along with that, other methods such as the digital wallet and credit. So then from there, the banks created the debit card process. As we know, it's secure to carry cash, but when we have a debit card, we have that flexibility able to buy it at stores, online, and so on. So then from there, we are now transitioning into the next thing. It's important that I talk about this, and it's called the digital wallet. The digital wallet now is the next transformation of method of payment. As we know today, we all use our phone for everything. So digital wallet, what it does is it integrates all of your methods of payment to your mobile device. As we know sometimes, oh, we forgot our purse, oh, we forgot our wallet. Well, these days, luckily, we have our phone that can do everything for us. So the digital wallet is, as I mentioned, it's connecting your accounts to your phone so that you can pay in that method. Last but not least, the most important thing that I will mention out of these four is credit. It's not something that I can speak of into details due to age requirements. It is something that once you turn 18 years of age and you are a legal adult, you're able to apply for and seek information on. But that does not mean that we are not able to provide the resources needed so that when you're ready to build credit, that you are prepared. If I may ask before we jump into the next slide, or actually not ask, I will say credit is an important factor. And when I say an important factor is most of what this day's finances rely on is responsibility. So the credit factor is the three credit bureaus that give you a score and that determines what the next step is when you get out of school. As we know, it could be marriage, starting your first job, buying an auto loan, seeking to buy a house. So it's really important that you look into your credit options with your parents, or simply you log into like your banking resources and you look over credit options available to you when the time comes. If I may please ask to go to the next slide. So then, as far as the key takeaways today from everything that I've explained is the benefits of having a bank account. I know I didn't explain too much into details, but when you go into a bank, all banks have different benefits as far as the access of funds, interest that you are earning, long-term planning, and even educational savings, and so on. So then from there, how banks interest work. Banks follow interest fed market rates, but sometimes banks can pay a different interest rate. It would be something that you would want to seek with your institution, or when the time comes that you plan on seeking to start a relationship with a institution. So then we choose a bank account that's number three, that's right for you. As I mentioned earlier, um, cash income, oh no, income is one of the toughest things as a student that can be generated. As we know, we have part-time jobs, so on. So we want to look for something that's not charging monthly maintenance fees. That's one of the most important things that I do advise our students that you ask. And then last but not least, four, methods of payment. We want to seek options, check writing, bill pay, um, cash withdrawals. Do we have limits? ATM cards, debit cards, digital wallet. So that's another thing that you would want to obviously look into as well. If I may ask to jump to the next slide, please. So now when we speak today of how we start to build the financial know-how is credit, debit, savings, home ownership, auto, retirement, college, privacy and security, personal banking, taxes and income. All these come in place when we have what are called life-changing events. As we know, we jump into school, then we go into high school, college, the family grows, you're looking for an auto to transport. Those are the most important things when it comes to banking. I do encourage that everyone, when you first start your bank account, especially being a student, that you ask questions. That's one of the most important things that usually today's days students don't ask. It's my role and my job to ensure that I explain everything to you. So I do encourage everyone to ask a lot of questions, especially when it's your first account. And that will tie all of my presentation. I will leave the floor open for any questions that you have for me. And I also want to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to have this quick presentation, as I wish I had a little more time. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. I am Glenn L. Bradley II. I'm a managing director at Dial Capital. Dial is an alternative investment management firm that essentially manages money for institutions and private individuals. Um, I went to college at Florida A&M University, where I graduated with a master's in business administration.
Okay.
So as it relates to, I'm sorry, Edgar, I'm the next presenter. I think the questions are after my section.
Perfect. Excuse me.
Why I chose my profession. I guess going through school, I was always pretty good at math. And if I'm going to be completely honest, choosing the profession to help individuals manage money was one in which I felt if I learned how to help manage other people's money, then I will be better at managing my own money. So that it was a little bit of a selfish endeavor, if you will. But in getting into this profession, I've learned that it is very rewarding helping individuals learn, help them better understand how to manage their money, how to achieve goals and financial freedom, if you will, as they navigate through life. Requirements for school. It's very interesting. Most financial services firms do require you to have a 4-year degree. However, unlike some of the other professions that you've heard about earlier in the science section, oftentimes many of the individuals that are working within finance may have a varying degrees. I've worked with individuals that had philosophy degrees. I've worked with an individual that had an art history degree. So it's not necessarily about the underlying degree initially. It's usually about the individual's passion and aptitude to pick up the information if they are interested in finance. I will say oftentimes there are many individuals that do have a degree that's kind of focused in finance, whether it's an MBA or a degree that has a financial background. And oftentimes, most people go back to school to get an MBA, or they do get a lot of the industry certifications like a CFA or CAIA, which is a kind of an alternative specific designation. My typical day embodies talking to clients, helping them understand what their portfolio looks like right now, how can we improve their portfolio, and talking about some of the investment strategies that we have within our firm that may help improve some of the financial outcomes that they're looking for. So there's a lot of day-to-day client conversations, traveling a lot to visit clients in their locations to talk about their investment ideas and portfolios, and just helping them optimize and reach outcomes that they're looking for in their life. And my advice to young people would be to truly follow your passion. I think oftentimes individuals try to chase money, if you will. However, if you follow your passion and implement a disciplined approach to your finances, you will be able to not only continue to do the things that you enjoy doing, but build a really, really strong financial foundation. And I guess the bulk majority of my talk, I would want to talk about like the two things that I've seen and I kind of recognize as two disciplines as extremely necessary in building that strong financial future, which is discipline and time. Discipline starts with just being able to spend less than you make. So there's a lot of individuals out there that make a lot of money, whether it's the athletes, whether it's entertainers, but oftentimes those athletes or entertainers, even if they're making $1 million a year, they're often spending $1 or $2 million a year. So because of credit and some of the things that Mr. Edgar spoke about earlier, they may be afford to live the lifestyle while they're making a certain amount of money. Their true wealth is not there because they're spending more than. However, implementing a discipline where you are spending less than you make allows you to continue to build your assets and grow over time. Oftentimes when I'm talking to young people, or to be honest with you, old people too, about being disciplined, it often comes down to saving, call it somewhere between 10 and 20% of your income every time you get a paycheck, every time you get a bonus, every time as kids, every time you get birthday money. That type of discipline is key in order to really grow your financial future. So if grandma gives you $50 for your birthday, saving $5 and putting it into a bank account, whether it's a checking or savings account. At some point, we may even talk to get into an investment account, and helping that money compound and grow over time is an essential method to building a strong financial foundation. The other portion, in addition to discipline, is time. So give a quick example. If I gave you $1 at the beginning of year one, and then at the end of every year, I was going to double your money. So at the end of year one, beginning of year two, you'll have $2. At the end of year two, beginning of year three, you'll have $4, and so on and so on. At the beginning of year 10, you would have $512. So you say like, hey, we started with $1, 10 years later, we have $500. So like, hey, Glenn, that's not a lot of money. $500 doesn't even feel like anything to me. However, if we continue with this particular example, and we took that $512, and at the end of year 10, beginning of year 11, now you have $1,024. And let's continue to take that example and extrapolate it over time. At the beginning of year 20, you would have $524,000. So beginning of year 21, because if we double that $524,000, so now we're talking about the beginning of year 21, which is 21 years later, you would have $1,048,576. That is the power of time and compounding. Nothing beats that in the world. In talking to a lot of individuals within the financial services industry, if you could marry together discipline by spending less than you make and give yourself as much time as possible, in this example, 20 years, you can build a financial future that is strong, that would allow you to have financial freedom to do things that you would want to do over time. In this example, I did give you an extreme